Well, for more on the strike in Pakistan and more generally the use of drones, let's speak with Dr. Ashutosh Misra. He's a research fellow at the Centre of Excellence in Policing and Security at Griffith University. He's also written or edited several books about Pakistan and its security challenges. Well, Dr. Ashutosh Misra joins me now from our Brisbane studio. Dr. Misra, thanks very much for your time this evening.
Good evening, and thank you for having me on the show.
From your perspective, just how significant is the death of Abu Yahya Al-Libi?
Well, I would say that it is a cataclysmic blow to the Al-Qaeda because he was number two in the Al-Qaeda hierarchy, and he was the principal lieutenant to Ayman al-Zawahiri, who's now in charge of Al-Qaeda. And if you look at his religious credentials, because of that, he was having the powers to issue even fatwas. He was giving operational approvals. He was giving all sorts of guidance to the militants and groups which are based in the Pakistan Federal Administrative Tribal areas and also in Afghanistan. So I think, and he was a very, very clever and shrewd operator. He was in captivity in Bagram military base in Afghanistan, one of the most secured American prisons in Afghanistan. He still escaped from there in 2005. So I think his killing is a major, major blow. And I think, given his profile and credentials, he's irreplaceable for the Al-Qaeda.
Well, what does that mean for Al-Qaeda then, if he is indeed irreplaceable?
See, Al-Qaeda has been facing a severe recruitment crunch for many years now. If you look at the declassified documents which were taken down from the hard drives which were confiscated from Osama bin Laden's lair in Abbottabad, it all shows that in the correspondence which Laden himself has been writing to several of the operatives and sheikhs, as he calls them, it said that Al-Qaeda has been hard-pressed with recruitment, and because it takes a long time to win somebody's trust and give them all the responsibility. And as it is, he was under the scanner. He had minimized his interaction through the internet and to avoid any kind of cyber footprint being left for the US and other authorities to trace. So for many years now, Al-Qaeda was facing the crunch and not getting the kind of recruitment support he would expect. So amidst all that, we have been seeing that more and more Al-Qaeda leadership was getting eliminated in these drone strikes. And now Abdul Ghani Baradar was captured a year and a half ago. Now he's been alLibi has been eliminated. So this is bad news for Al-Qaeda, and Al-Qaeda as it is has been on the decline. So I think it gets us really bad for Al-Qaeda globally.
Dr. Misra, do we know how many US drone strikes have been carried out in Pakistan so far this year, and militarily at least, how effective have they been?
See, drone strikes have been very, very effective. Let me say that, because it has been able to eliminate top leadership like Ilyas Kashmiri, Baitullah Masood. Now you have alLibi, who was eliminated. So I think it has been very effective. So far this year alone, 17 drone strikes have occurred in Pakistan, especially in the tribal areas. And because they are very effective, and by and large now drones are becoming part of arsenal of various states who are dealing with such conflicts in their territory. Because they are manless, they are soundless, they strike with precision, and you don't have to commit any personnel for driving or flying these drones. So these are very effective, and it shows that since 2007, over 1,800 Taliban cadres have been eliminated in drone strike, which shows how effective it is. And again, there have been hue and cry that civilians do get killed, and I do acknowledge that civilians do get killed in it, but that's the tactics of the Al-Qaeda and the operatives to make those places hideouts where you have more and more civilians living, so that there are mass casualties, so that they can turn the entire propaganda in their favor of civilian death. So sometimes civilians do get killed, but drones by and large are very effective weaponry which United States and other countries have included into the arsenal, and they've been investing now into nuclear powered drones, which means they don't need any kind of refueling, and so from sitting in the United States they can strike anywhere in the world. So, and now India has been bringing it in its own arsenal to strike against the Maoists, and maybe it can be used against terrorist groups which are based in the Pakistan occupied occupied Kashmir.
How much damage, though, as well as to the insurgent leadership, how much damage are these drones and the use of drones doing to US-Pakistan relations?
Immense. I must say that the strike of drones, especially when civilians get killed, poisons US-Pakistan relationship further. But I would say also that it's not just the drones. You would see the trajectory of US-Pakistan relations. It has been nosediving for the last couple of years, and the basic reason was United States has been asking that who controls the intelligence, inter-service intelligence, which is the intelligence agency of Pakistan. Because Pakistan was seen as playing the double game, and especially the ISI with its linkages with the Al-Qaeda, with the Taliban leadership, was not making many people happy in Washington. So as a result, United States had begun to ask who is controlling ISI. Since then, we had one after the other reports coming that ISI has been involved in several Plots. David Headley Coleman, who was involved in the Mumbai attacks, he revealed that ISI has been responsible in training the Lashkar-e-Toiba recruits. George Bush even asked that who is controlling ISI. And then we saw that Osama bin Laden was captured in Abbottabad, deep inside Pakistan. And Pakistan till date has not been able to convey or give a very satisfactory answer to the United States that how it had no idea of him being there. So these were some of the reasons which led to the decline and deterioration of US-Pakistan relationship in the last 2-3 years, I would say, and amidst that, drone strikes have been taking place, and as a result, relationship remained and continue to be battered by these attacks.
So are these drone strikes violating Pakistan's sovereignty, as Pakistan's All-Parliamentary Committee declared just a couple of months back?
Yeah, I'm glad that you asked that question. Now, as more and more drone strikes and use of drone is being reported around the world, this debate has gained currency the world over. That does it violate a state's sovereignty, like in the case of Pakistan? Now, you have to look into the entire context in which drones are being used. If you look at the UN General Assembly Resolution 2625, it clearly says that states must refrain from using their territory for any terrorist purposes or using them as a basis for launching terrorist strikes in other countries. Now, Pakistan, we know that in the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, all these groups are based, including Lashkar-e-Toiba. South Punjab has become the hotbed, which is recruiting militants for Afghanistan. Tariq-e-Taliban, we already know. Haqqani network is in North Waziristan. You have the Quetta Ashura. Now, all these groups are there, which are thriving. And over and above that, you have the Lashkar-e-Toiba, whose chief, Mr. Hafiz Saeed, he has now got a bounty of 10 million over his head. Now, these groups are there. Now, they are having these linkages with the ISI, with the intelligence, and there you see the involvement of a state organ. So, when the state organs get involved in these kinds of activities, naturally, the state cannot shy away from its responsibilities. Now, International Law Commission on State Responsibilities has an article, Article 8, which clearly establishes that linkage, which shows that if a state organ or anyone operating in connivance with the state organs is seen to be doing these kinds of activities, that will be considered an act of the state. So in this case, we have seen how these groups are operating from Pakistan in connivance with the ISI and the military and the military establishment. Now, in that case, what options do the injured states like United States and India have? That is where the use of drones comes into being, and the International Court of Justice in many of its judgment in the US versus Nicaragua case, in Uganda versus Congo case, had clearly spelled out that if there is a linkage, then there is a ground for attacking and targeting those who are responsible for these acts. Now, if you cannot prove the linkage with the state, you cannot target the state or the state forces or state establishment or government buildings. In this case, what US is doing is resorting to targeted attacks in the hideouts, in the tribal areas where militants are hiding. And despite the connection with the state organ, it is targeting only where but the United States is suspecting the militants are hiding.
Still, Dr. Misra, I'm sorry.
If you can operate within two principles, that of necessity and proportionality, if all options have been exhausted to deal with the situation or purge the militants, then you can resort to attacks provided they are proportional. And in my opinion, since these are targeted killings using the drones, they are within very much within the proportion. So I think in my view, they are very much within the purview of the international law.
Even so, Dr. Misra, there is a lot of contention, as we've heard from the comments from Islamabad, about the use of drones and whether they do or do not impeach upon a country's sovereignty. Given that sort of attitude and that contention, and as you mentioned earlier, the use of drones is only going to increase. As we see that, how will the use of drones increasingly, how will that reshape not only military planning around the world, but also the entire legal framework of conflict?
Absolutely. As it has revolutionized modern warfare around the world, and as I said, that United States is already contemplating developing nuclear-powered arsenal, and especially after the Pakistani case and after the repeated use of drone strikes inside Pakistan, I think we'll see more and more debate taking place on the sovereignty issue, the sovereign rights of the states on whose territory this option is exercised. And also there will be talk about what are the options with the injured states. If the state on whose territory these groups are based is not doing enough to purge these elements, what can the injured states do? And that is where I think law, especially International Court of Justice, has said that provided you can operate within the boundaries of proportionality, I think you can justify these attacks under the banner of international law.
Dr. Misra, fascinating discussion, and one I suspect we'll be having a lot more in the future, but I thank you for your perspective and time tonight.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.